A reading from Amos. I hate, I despise your festivals, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. And the offerings of well-being of your fatted animals, I will not look upon. Take away from me the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the melody of your harps. But let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. The word of God.
Our lives have many facets. Even with people that we have known well, there are things to learn about them, to incorporate into our picture of them. We have invited friends, colleagues, and family to share with us some of their insights and memories of Hugh.
Merci. You know me now. We're all family. Where I come from, there's a number of people that have very important roles, responsibilities, and I've been honored to have been asked by the Dutch people to be their grand chief. There's an election next year, but I had told them that I wouldn't be going on beyond that because I have other things that I wanted to do for myself, like grandchildren. But I just want to let the people here that's gathered here today that Hugh worked with the Dutch First Nation in the last number of months. And that's probably the first time that I ever had a chance to work with him. The time that I spent time with him, when he would come up, he would tell us about a number of things, about bringing things across. What he wanted to do, the way I saw it, Hugh, is that he wanted to tell it like it is. And whenever he had an opportunity to bring the point across, he would. There was no fear with what he was trying to do. And that's what I liked about him. And I learned, the short time that I worked with him, I learned quite a lot about him. But I wanted to just go back a number of years. The first time I saw Hugh was in the 70s. I was just finishing college over at Leslie B. Pearson College, just on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And there they were talking about international understanding. And they were talking about questions about what's going on up north. And that's when I first saw Hugh. And I also saw his wife, who was there. And I was really interested in what he was talking about. And when I wanted to know more about what he did, I learned that he was an author. He really likes writing, he likes putting things together. And as a young student at the time, I was really curious about what he was writing. The book that he wrote was about my people. And it was called This Land Is Not For Sale. And it opened my eyes and made me look at the kind of things that are going on in the community, because I just came out of Pearson College to talk about international understanding. And here I was a young lieutenant and looking at our situation, and I always wondered why things were happening the way they were happening. And this book really made me look at the things back home. And I'd like to thank you for opening that door for me, widening that road, that gap. And through his writing, that's what he's been doing all over, is to open that knowledge, open that understanding. And it's kind of touches on the whole thing about international understanding. And we have to learn how to live with each other in a good way. And that's the struggle back home. And that's the point that Hugh was also emphasizing and encouraging. And even this church here, it has a lot of history. It also helped the draft dodgers, that came over here. So there's a lot of things that really began to open the doors for the working relationship with Indigenous people. And I think that's one thing that I really saw there. And I'm really glad that he was part of our lives. I really like to thank also John. His son was also involved way in the 80s. I remember when we got together, I think it was in the Snowdrift, and we're talking about how do we strengthen what we're trying to do. And the thing that we wanted to do was to enhance the culture, our culture. And we had this cultural conference in Snowdrift, and that's where we started an institution called the Dena Cultural Institute. And John was part of that development, so I'd like to thank John for also assisting in what we do, we're beginning to do there. John also worked in the lands department for Dena Nation, and also worked with a number of our people throughout the Mackenzie Valley in terms of kind of bringing things across. And it's really important, that we need each other more so today to try to bring these things, to widen that road, that gap out there, because there's still a lot of mistrust, a lot of misunderstanding, and a lot of fear in people. And because of our fear of the unknown, we don't want to kind of tread, we don't want to get into that. And from what Hugh had done is that he wasn't a dead end, but he came in and he was willing to let that fear go and start asking us about ourselves, not only as Dena, but as human beings, to see, what we need to do to right the wrongs. And that's been his struggle. And he has an influence in some of the things that we've done. And I'd like to thank him and the spirit that he had in him to bring that across. That he really went across these type of borders, these boundaries that we, as human beings, we tend to kind of put ourselves in. And one of the things that I just been kind of putting the pieces together just to mention is that as human beings, we have feelings. And I know that through this period of time that we're going through, in regards to you, there's feelings that we go through that come and go. And I just like to encourage people to embrace it with your spirit and accept the feelings that we're going through, because sometimes, as human beings, we don't want to go there. We tend to push it away, but we just need to embrace it because of what Hugh has contributed to that helped us, our spirit, and really strengthened who we are as human beings. So I'd like to thank all of you for being part of Hugh's life, and Hugh's been really extremely helpful in where we are today. So